Chapter 1036, Chancing upon a valuable translator, Myoibo Studio editor, Myoibo Studio. After the fight, the great beings from the demon race and the Nine Territory Alliance left. The 7 waves of the audience, consisting of great beings from other races attracted by the commotion, watched the fight from afar. Thereafter, the crowd dispersed quietly. Everything that happened matched the description Kuang Zhou Knight gave me precisely, Luo Feng said as he cruised along the skyline of the deserted plain with golden-horned beast crouching on his shoulder obediently. The great beings within the original star are very cautious. If they're too few valuables, or if they are not confident enough, they will not take action. During the fight between the demon race and the Nine Territory Alliance, there was no aura of a true treasure at all. I think it probably involved only a few treasures. If its aura was concealed, then a true treasure would not be easy to differentiate from an ordinary treasure based on appearance alone. However, things were different. On the original stars were full of valuables. When different types of valuables appeared, there would not be much response. When some top-tier series of treasures appeared, perhaps there would be some response. However, during the birth of a true treasure, there would absolutely be a response. The greater the response, the higher the level of the true treasure. There was even a palace surfacing from underground. This palace was where a true treasure was hidden. It could be implied, therefore, that the greater the response, the higher the level of the true treasure. Luo Feng said, observing a whirlpool from a distance. It was suspended in midair. Another whirlpool portal, with no means of knowing which original star the path leads to. According to the description provided in the information given to him, there were 10,081 original stars, and there were 10,081 whirlpools associated portals randomly distributed that led to each star. Among them, only one was used for leaving the stars, which was the path leading to the whirlpool portal Luo Feng had utilized to arrive at his destination. The other 10,080 paths led to the other 10,080 original stars. All great beings in the original stars seek treasures, said Luo Feng. They do not run about randomly and recklessly. Most of them probably stand guard at a certain spot and wait patiently. Once they sense the trace of an aura, or any other unique, telling sign somewhere, they rush to it. Luo Feng decided to learn from the experience accumulated from the prior generations of original stars. He would faithfully follow their practices. Immediately, Luo Feng dove down and found himself flying into a low-lying ancient forest. There was a mountain that was approximately 600 miles high. Although it was much taller than any other mountain on Earth, when compared to those in the original stars, it would have been considered average. The ancient trees, flowers, and foliage on the stars were beautiful. Treading on a bed of fallen leaves, Luo Feng strolled about leisurely. The pressure here on the original star is overwhelming, he said. Weaker, undying spirits would surely be annihilated. Yet these plants are able to thrive and bloom here amid mountains and rock formations. Luo Feng looked around and saw a short, sturdy tree with a trunk that was a whopping 100 feet thick. Unquestionably, these plants could all be materials for making undying weapons. They are definitely rare materials of high value. Luo Feng was aware of this. but he would not take anything. There were pioneers who had already attempted to do so. Peng Luo Feng kicked the tree trunk. Judging by the impact created by his strong godly power crashing against the tree, Luo Feng could sense that the large tree merged as one with the vast land. From a single kick, his entire body was thrown into the air, and he landed quite a distance away, sprawled among the lush garden of flowers and greenery. He picked himself up. Truly, he marveled, all this foliage is merged as one with the original star. The intel mentioned that the plant life here was not easily damaged. Even if superbeings tried to cause damage intentionally, they would gather together and grow rapidly to recover their original form. Luo Feng used his godly power to isolate himself from the surroundings. Then he ignited the godly power on his right leg. His power increased tremendously. A loud hong sounded as he stamped his foot into the ground, creating a large cloud of soil launched into the air. The impact had created a hole in the ground. Luo Feng stood aside and watched wordlessly. A while later, the dispersed soil redistributed itself, and the hole was once again filled. There was no sign of the hole in the ground. Everything returned to its original form. Indeed, Luo Feng mused. What an amazing original star. On the original stars, any object that was seemingly merged as one with the original star, the earth, the foliage, and more, could be forcefully taken away, but only for a short moment. It would always return to its rightful spot very quickly. It was destined that any efforts to harvest these objects would prove futile. Only objects that were not merged as one with the original stars, like valuables that had just emerged, could be taken away. Immersing himself in the amazing original star, Luo Feng strolled through the forest, observing everything around him. Luo Feng's leg felt something hard and solid. Given his godly power, ordinary stones would have flown away. The uneven ground would be flattened. Luo Feng looked down. A sharp, silver edge was jutting out of the ground. Its tip was stained with mud. Luo Feng felt the object meticulously. There was something unique about it. He blinked. I can't be that lucky, can I? He muttered to himself. There were so many valuables in the original stars. Some treasures might appear without any indication. They could appear in places like the river and beneath the soil. Even while walking, one might chance upon a treasure. This sort of occurrence was not unprecedented. Chancing upon a valuable while walking, Luo Feng squatted down and touched the sharp edge with his right hand. His sharp nails locked on firmly, and his godly power encircled the sharp silver edge as though it were a network of threads. He exerted some force. As though he was plucking a carrot, he pulled. The earth loosened, and the silver object with a squarish body, approximately 1.5 feet long, was pulled out of the ground. Luo Feng skimmed the object with his godly power, and all the mud was wiped off. A silver, square body with an exquisite cover inscribed with some ancient laws was revealed. Its aura was indistinct, but it was undoubtedly a treasure. No wonder Sir Nineblade was willing to use 10 treasures as a thank you token just to borrow one of my true treasures, said Luo Feng. He was all smiles. On this original star, there are so many treasures that I could chance upon one while walking. chancing upon a valuable while walking. Now, that was lucky. However, there were, indeed, many treasures on the original star. So long as one stayed there long enough, it would not be too difficult to obtain dozens or maybe even hundreds of these treasures. They could then be contributed to one's race in exchange for a series of treasures. Moreover, these treasures could also be disassembled into valuable materials that were normally difficult to find. Upon disassembling a great volume of treasures, countless valuable materials could be gathered and reconstructed into an ordinary true treasure. Making an ordinary true treasure was no easy feat. There may have been only one being in the universe who could construct super true treasures such as Force Armor, Original Soul, and Yan Shen Halberd, and that individual was none other than Sitting Mountain Guest. Luo Feng's life imprint branded this square body. Instantly, it became his belonging. A stream of information was transmitted into him, and the silver square body shrunk rapidly, as though it were a magic cube. Soon, it was no bigger than a peach. A seal-type treasure that could contain a sealed space within itself. This is comparable to a sealed star. Luo Feng nodded with satisfaction. The first treasure since I entered this original star, and on the first day. If I could obtain one every day, after hundreds and thousands of years, how many treasures will I have collected? He knew that it was impossible. Nonetheless, it was fun to think about chancing upon treasures every day during leisurely strolls. Luo Feng walked about the forest for half the day, but alas, not a single treasure was to be found. He roamed aimlessly and found an empty spot where he sat down cross-legged amidst the falling leaves. There, he waited patiently. Time flew by. The original stars had stayed open for a full 1,000 centuries, affirming the fact that the chances of previous true treasures emerging were destined to be low. The occurrence was once in a blue moon. Eventually, a series of treasures and ordinary true treasures, normally common items, became highly sought after. Finding treasures required a little luck. It had been 2 years since Luo Feng had first set foot on the original star, and he had yet to catch sight of a series of treasures. Although he did manage to sense their aura on 3 occasions, the auras were relatively weak to his senses. This showed how sharp the other great beings were. The ones closest to the valuables when they appeared were the luckiest ones. During the 3 times when the series of treasures had appeared, Luo Feng was too far away. By the time he rushed over, the fight for the series of treasures had already ended. Luck. I don't even have a single series of treasures. It has been 2 years, and I have only obtained 2 treasures. What a shame. Luo Feng stood at the apex of the ancient forest and looked out into the distance. 2 years for 2 treasures still would have been considered quite efficient. After all, life in the original star was fraught with constant risk. Luo Feng was now disguised as a member of the Space Beast Alliance. As the Space Beast Alliance bore a mysterious, otherworldly aura, great beings of other races would usually steer clear from the great beings of this alliance. It had been 2 years, and Luo Feng, along with the golden-horned beast on his shoulder, had earned quite a reputation for themselves. At least, many great beings had come to know and remember them. The Humanity Alliance, the Demon Alliance, the Automaton Race Alliance, and the Bug Soldiers Alliance have all been engaged in violent fights, Luo Feng muttered to himself. So long as there is a pretext for violence, battles are always a possibility. The four pinnacle races were adjacent to one another. Hatred was being perpetually accumulated, and the battles in the original stars were always exceedingly violent. Maybe Luo Feng was still too young to understand. Even though he had experienced an ambush by spies of the Bug soldiers, which had led to the destruction of a planet, as well as an assassination attempt by Mud-swallowing Knight, his detest for the Bug soldiers, the demon race, and the automaton race, was not intense to the point of being extreme, nor to the extent of insanity. Luo Feng simply did not harbor such hatred in his herd. But great beings of the human race who had truly lived for a long time were different. They had lived too long and, as a result, had accumulated countless conflicts and excessive hatred for the other three pinnacle races. One fight followed another, building up their hatred bit by bit. It seemed that eventually, every man's hatred ran deep. I have been here for 2 years, yet never once have I engaged in battle, Luo Feng sighed to himself. Just as he was feeling some self-pity, he detected a unique aura spreading out toward where he was. Now that he was more experienced, he was stunned. Immediately, he reacted. It's a series of treasures, he realized. Or an ordinary true treasure. And this aura seems close. Luo Feng was excited. He hadn't been even remotely close to the treasures he had sensed the previous 3 times, but this time, it felt very close. Luo Feng's Mosha body ignited its godly power in a blink of the eye. At full speed, it shot off. Hong! It flew straight to the source of aura. A huge being from the prison race, standing at a height of over 30 feet with his entire body ablaze with golden flame, could be seen with 2 other Universe Knights, each at least 300 feet tall. They had 12 pairs of black wings over their arc backs with bodies covered with black scales. This aura is quite strong. It might be a series of treasures or possibly a true treasure. Together, they flew over to where the aura came from. The aura of an emerging treasure. It's a treasure. The 6 different troops who happened to have been assembled in the region now rushed toward the source of the energy at top speed. Following the aura that was spreading out, troops of 2 or 3 Universe Knights came rushing over to the source of the aura as quickly as possible.